current subtectonic kinetic wave pattern. This is the current subtectonic kinetic wave pattern that resonates approx 20 to 40 meters below the surface of the Earth's sedimentary layer. It goes through 3 stages of energy transference before breaching the surface. From the core of the planet's plasma energy, various elements of energy causes the planet to emit its own gravitational wave resonance. Once that gravitational wave expands and begins passing through the sediment crust, the interaction with solid matter causes the wave to change its resonance field, which transitions the gravitational wave to a low frequency, 7.86 MHz, sound wave. Then the sound wave will encircle the planet until it merges with enough identical sound waves to increase its momentum and begin to rise in altitude. Once that breaches the surface, the sound wave transitions again into kinetic impulse waves. When these impulse waves intersect over the surface breach points, it emits a vibrational electromagnetic energy that acts more like a filter than wave as it layers itself one on top of the other. This kinetic resonance can also be redirected and used to overcharge our own life force resonance if filtered through the proper buoyant elements and solid rock structures. There is a cycle in which the kinetic buildup of electromagnetic impulses are greater during each passing seasonal cycle. Spring and summer are the time frames in which the emissions are at an increased ratio, whereas fall and winter are when the emissions are at a declining ratio. The science behind Magick takes these kinetic impulses, redirects them through a conduit, the sorcerer, and filters it through an object, usually or even an art design. Once it has been filtered to the proper resonance, the spells are designed with the desired fundamental essence of the forces necessary for the effect the spellcaster is attempting to cause. A basic understanding of geology and weather patterns are necessary, as well as biology and astrology, to be an effective sorcerer. Before attempting to learn any magic or spellcraft, I would suggest learning those 4 topics on a basic fundamental level first. Otherwise the acolyte will never fully grasp any of the subjects, no matter how much they study the craft. There have been civilizations recorded to have attempted to harness this kinetic energy. One of those being the Babylonians, who erected what they called the ziggurats, or giant temples that were constructed with the purpose of redirecting the ley line energy waves as they transitioned from subsonic sound waves to kinetic energy fields. The Native American Younger Dryas tribes also attempted to harness this energy into living conduits known as shamans by building a tribal colony on top of the breach points on the surface. The generations born upon these regions would become saturated at birth with high levels of kinetic energy and develop natural filters as they grow into adulthood upon these sections. However, in my personal opinion, I feel that those methods would be about as dangerous as living next to a high voltage power line, as cancer being only one small possible result of such a lifestyle. Another more well-known civilization to have adapted a way to harness this energy are the Templar Masons. The Masonic temples were adapted from the Mesopotamian design of the ziggurat temples in the 13th century. However, records indicate that it may be possible that all 3 of these cultural groups may be not only connected but the same organization that changed its orders details throughout the centuries, but its underlying purpose stayed unchanged. The Masonic architecture goes back as far as early Egyptian dynastic periods, and many of the pyramids in Giza today bear the Masonic symbols of architectural design, as do the Masonic temples that were first erected by the Templars in 1333 AD. The ziggurats date as far back as 30,000 BCE, and the oldest known possible ziggurat has been dated to be close to 500,000 years old, located in the Siberian and Central European regions. So mankind has known and attempted to harness this power for many years now. The question that raises my interest is, why and how have we developed into the modern society we are today that denounces this practice as fictional and a subject of disbelief? Architect of time and spatial structure, the Kwisatz Haderach, source of creation's inertia, theory presented by Metatron and Lucifer. There is the subject of the Kwisatz Haderach of this cultural evolutionary chain known as mysticism. a prophesied coming of the greatest sage that will ever exist, possessing naturally developed power beyond imagination, and this symbol of mystical perfection, much like the character of the Fifth Element movie, converged with that of Maud and Dune. Though Dune was just a movie based off of sci-fi myths and legends of possibilities in the most extreme sense, so too was once the Bible and the idea of magic. But as I have explained, magic is a very real and scientifically possible concept, and the other even more so. We know what God is, but for the sake of arrogant confusion I shall describe exactly what I mean by God: the source of creation's design, the initial inertia of particles, boson formation, that which willed the universe and designed its fundamental laws and boundaries. The Bible, as well as many other sources, tell us what actions lead to his being the creator.